looks like for you, and just everything is aligning. What I want to empower you to do is, even now more than ever, in comparison to how the market's been so inconsistent, to be empowered to be selective, to be empowered to be picky, right? To not just say yes to everything and copy other people or trade what everyone else is trading. I find it, and this is just me, and I know that if you've ever shared your opinion with me about a stock, I like praise you for it. I really find it attractive when other traders, right, within TechBot Solutions or Learn Plan Profit, simply just like, if I share why I like a stock, when they're like, well, I like that we can kickstart September on a positive note, is I want to empower you guys all to be selective. Be extremely selective, say more no than you do yes. And, just like an investment opportunity, right, or a business opportunity, you're not going to say yes to everything that's thrown at you. So it's the same things with these trades, right? Yeah, you might find certain qualities about a setup attractive, but does it meet all your criteria? That's the only tangent that I'll go on in this video. I just really wanted to make sure that you guys understand kind of like that mindset. I think that if there's anything that I really want to share with you guys this week, I really would appreciate if you were to take time to maybe consider that mindset. So let's go ahead. Old support levels can become new resistance levels. So to here is calling out AZUL. So again, I do appreciate all of you guys tuning in as well. And I know that tomorrow is like Labor Day. So first of all, for those that are just tuning in and maybe didn't catch the first part of this video, market is closed tomorrow. So Monday, market is closed. We only have 4 days, 4 opportunities to make the most of it. So, that's definitely something that I want to make sure everyone's aware of. So AZUL overall was showing signs of an uptrend, aggressively pulled back and sold off. It's in the very early stages, if anything, for a potential reversal. I think that we can all agree on that. Yeah, it can continue to push up. The direction is not super clear. It pushed up very quickly, and usually when something pushes up very quickly, in my experience, it could pull back and correct itself that much quicker, right? So let's kind of go with the flow. There's 3 things that I like to take into consideration. One of those being, how attractive is the margin of profit, right? Do I really think that I'm going to be able to sell at 43.14? Realistically, no. Like, let's set a more realistic based off of previous patterns. Like, let's say around this $38 price point, that's about 5 to 6%. That's from the low end, right? And that means that we can still give it time for it to consolidate. So I find the margin of profit to be attractive. I find, the recent push to be attractive. The thing is that there's not a super clear direction. This thing was aggressively descending, and it could 100% form a resistance here and then sell off. So just as much as it could go up, I would be just that much more weary of this thing potentially pulling back. So I'm gonna set my alarm. I'm gonna set my alerts here. So I'm just gonna right click, set these here, and then set one right here as well. Also, if you guys are just tuning in and you guys think that we earned it, we'd really appreciate the thumbs up if that's all right with you guys. That's my breakdown on this. I would give this a little bit more time. I would say that if anything, the Learn Plan Profit group is very familiar with this kind of like phrase, but this would be at a critical point where it still has to identify its true direction. Are we going to continue to push up, or are we going to sell off and do that stuff? Thumbs up for my hero. What's going on, Lido? Appreciate you. Thank you again for tuning in. So Gabriel, I'm not too sure why your ticker was not showing, but there it goes. So PAYS. Let's go ahead. We literally have been breaking down PAYS for the past maybe month, every single week. One of the things that I want to point out is that Desmond Little, what's going on? Desmond, you sound very, you have like a very I don't know, I feel like I've either heard that name before. I don't know if I think we were talking about it a couple days ago that your name just sounded so familiar. But yeah, just want to say what's up and thank you for your time. So Shane, love your content. Oh, appreciate you guys. You guys are so nice today. PAYS. What can you guys help me out with this one? I just wanted to get your guys' input. What do you guys think about this one? A positive thing and maybe something that you don't find attractive about it. What's an attractive thing about this? What's not an attractive thing about this? So how do you post in the ticker call out format? So Ismail should be posting the ticker call outs, the format in just a little bit. So he posts about every minute. There it goes. So below the SMA line, below the EMA line, right? All that stuff. What's going on, Yusuf? Okay, so I want to say one attractive thing about this and one maybe not so attractive thing about this. One of the attractive things about this is because it's been such a consistent, right? I can see why, because the overall direction has on the 180-day 4-hour chart, it's been an overall uptrend. So the overall direction it's an uptrend. So people think that because it's sold off and it's around a general area where it normally bounces at, that, this is a really good deal, which then, this you can buy here and then you can later sell here. And trust me, like, I get that, but like we've said, patterns tend to repeat themselves. They don't have to. And because the market has been so inconsistent, I think that we can all agree that if there has ever been a time to be patient and wait for confirmation of an uptrend, now has been the time. Now is the time, right? So you can see all my alerts are being set here. It's trading below the overall EMA line, below the SMA line, and yes, it could 100% push up, but I would rather partake in a trade where all the action is happening, not when it's like about to happen or before it happens. How many of you guys have gotten into a position maybe a little bit too early? That's kind of what I would consider, why I would avoid being an inefficient trader, right? I want to avoid getting in too early, waiting for this thing to consolidate, to maybe sell off a little bit more, and then a month from now actually begin to push up. I would rather set my alerts, wait for it to begin to make higher highs, and if and when it does, then I'll go in. Until then, I'm going to be patient and I'm gonna be a little bit more disciplined. So I think that's an attractive quality that a lot of people can value, right? So I can 100% see value in the overall pattern, overall direction, why people right now find it attractive, and the margin of profit. But altogether, just because it has bounced before doesn't mean that it has to. So I hope that that's something that makes sense to you guys. So what's going on, Armando? PBR. Here we go, PBR. Okay, so again, another thing. So overall descending pattern, right? Look at the MACD, look at the RSI, look a little bit more on the overextended side, especially with this very aggressive, right? One of the things that I want to point out, very aggressive descending pattern of making lower lows and lower highs. And again, none of this, I just want you guys to be able to see kind of like what I view it as like a funnel, right? And this thing is funneling down. It's a downtrend pattern, downward staircase. You guys can call it whatever it is, whatever makes the most sense to you and whatever sticks. Right now, it's been such a consistent descending pattern. It's not making higher highs. It has not been, for the past week, it's been showing signs of an uptrend, but all it's doing, it's recovering from the aggressive sell-off that it had. And overall, the direction, it's been selling off, right? So if you were to buy here and sell here, is that how you want your account to look like? No, you don't want to partake in descending patterns. Can you make money on descending patterns? Of course. It's just a little bit more difficult for you to identify the low points and the high points, and the overall direction is not in your favor, right? If you focus on something that's uptrending, right, and you get in maybe at not the best price point, but because the overall direction is in your favor, and as long as that pattern and that direction continues, then guess what? You just have to give it time and it will most likely, make higher highs and continue to uptrend, because you did what? You set yourself up for success by at least focusing on stocks that are showing signs of growth. I know a lot of you. I know that there's at least one of you, right? There's at least one of you watching right now that can agree with me that you've been focusing a lot on descending patterns. You're always trying to buy the dip and you've just been draining your account. One thing to test: paper trade, simulation trade. I'm not even asking you with real money. Practice, test it, and see if you focus on getting a good deal, the overall direction to be in your favor, and for it to be an uptrend pattern, and of course, making sure that the margin of profit is attractive. Practice it. See if it works for you. If it does, maybe you can branch off from that and develop your own trading style, but I think those are good principles to build off of. And that's just, again, my opinion. But just as much as it could go up, I think that it could go down, and I'm going to set my alert right here. So we are at 6 breakdowns. I'm going to do 4 more. 6 breakdowns. Let's do 4 more. Here we go. What's going on, Hugh? So we got INTC. Here we go. Alrighty, we have a lot of dip buyers this week. So overall sell-off, that makes sense. I can see why there's a lot of consolidation. Overall SMA line acting as a resistance. We're not really making higher highs. We're almost at previous highs. Look at the MACD, look at the RSI. It just doesn't look like the best deal, or like there's a break-of pattern here. It looks like, again, it's just here like it was before, and then it sells off again. So if anything, it's more on the overbought side than it is on the oversold, with, looking at previous highs and how it's been consistently getting rejected there. So I'm going to set my alert there, and until it breaks above the SMA line, and ultimately, right, not just current patterns. Past week, I can see why it popped up in probably a couple of your guys' scanners, but overall direction is not an uptrend, at least not on the past 180-day chart. So I'm going to set my alerts here, try to set myself up for success, and make sure that, I get a good deal, but most importantly, that the overall direction is in my favor. So let's go ahead and move on to the next one. What's going on, Joseph? It's a very clean, what's it called, cover picture. Here we go, ULTA. Alrighty, Ulta Beauty. Oh, this is a, okay, huge sell. First of all, this has to do, I think, more with, what's it called? This would have to do more with the fundamentals. I don't know what was shared during its earnings that caused there to be a huge sell-off. This goes beyond technicals. On the technical side, it literally dropped 30%. Think about that. A company lost 30% of its, worth, right, in the stock market in one day. There has to be a huge reason for that. And I'm empowering you to do this, right? This is what I would do if I find ULTA in any way attractive. Because of this huge sell-off, I'm not going to just focus on technicals. There's a fundamental reason on probably why it sold off so aggressively, and because of that, I would look into it. I would see if it still makes sense to, want to consider to trade it, or if something with like a Chapter 11 bankruptcy was released, something that can be detrimental to the overall company. If that was released, then can continue. If there can be continuous bleeding, meaning that it just continues to lose in value, then this could be in the very early stages of, a potential, company that goes bankrupt. So altogether, I just want to remind you that, it looks like a potential dip buy. There's no clear direction. There's no indication of a recovery. I'll set my alerts for what it's worth. But as of right now, if you find this to be a value, I would look a little bit more into it to first understand what caused the sell-off, then to try to understand if it's going to be detrimental to the overall company and stuff like that. So Ulta, I think. Okay, it looks like there's a couple different reasons on why it might have sold off. So I don't know why, but I would look into it if you were to even consider it to be something that's of value, right? Here we go. So Johnny Films is calling out ticker symbol SHOP. Here it goes. Ooh, where are all my drop shippers? What do you guys think about this? Can I get some opinions on this? Some thoughts. SHOP. Maybe one attractive thing and maybe one not so attractive thing about this. How many of you guys were aware of Shopify? Anything? This looks sexy. I like it. Okay, consistent uptrend, recent sell-off. Yep. Very aware, strong uptrend. Right? Direction selling off. Okay. Overbought maybe. Consistent uptrend. Buy when it hits moving average. All right. Shop for long term. Very strong. Right? Need to wait. All right. I like it. One of the things that I want to remind you is that it's even been a very consistent uptrend pattern, even with overall market conditions, right? It just kind of like expresses it's almost the stability, right? Or the power of such a powerful company. I think Shop has been absolutely killing, especially with all the hype behind drop shipping and stuff like that. I think it just adds to the fuel, right? Overall direction, no question. I think it's one of the first things, right? Like if anyone has a Robinhood account, I don't, right? But if you did, and you were to look at your 1 year chart and it were to look something like this, you would find that to be attractive, right? So first of all, the direction, the pattern, all that's attractive. Literally, there's almost not one time that it's broken, maybe for like a day, right? Or for 4 hours. It broke below the SMA line, but overall, it's been a very consistent uptrend pattern. The SMA line has been a great indicator based off of previous patterns for potential support. So you can see my alerts there. One of the things that you can begin to see is that, even recently, it hasn't even been touching the SMA line because it's been uptrending so aggressively. So I would just really set my alerts here. Make sure that the direction is in your favor. We get confirmation and that you find the margin of profit to be attractive enough. I can definitely see why a lot of people would see value in not just like day trading. Like day trading is one thing, right? And that's what I do. But if you don't have time for day trading and you see value in investing and there's a company in which you believe in and it makes sense and it's been showing signs of growth, if anything, Shopify has been one of those companies that I've been super aware of them, of how they've just been absolutely killing it. And it's so cool to see, right? It's so cool to see something to be so consistent. And you guys know that I'm a huge fanboy of that. So there we go. So I really do appreciate that call out. So here we go. Daniel's calling out ticker symbol ED. Here we go. Ticker symbol ED. just like we said before, there's been times where it almost it's in the very early stages of changing direction. It's been showing signs of an uptrend. It then broke below the overall SMA line. It recently pushed back above, but overall it's been doing a lot of consolidation here. Based off of where it's at right now, this is the only thing that I want to leave you with about this stock. Based off of where it's at right now and based off of previous highs, the margin of profit is 1%. Can it continue to grow? Yes, but based off of previous highs, the opportunity cost, right, the margin profit is 1%. And because of that, I don't find that to be attractive enough to buy and hope that I hold and sell, because I can do that in a day with just simply day trading. So because of that, yeah, the patterns, whatever, right? But that's my number one thing. It doesn't meet all my criteria. So I simply wanted to share with you on why it's like that. So, or why I think that it's not the most attractive, right? So here we go. Samuel is calling out ticker symbol RIO. Here it goes, RIO. Okay, overall aggressive descending pattern. Looks like it's trying to form this overall reversal. Look at the MACD, look at the RSI. I'm not a huge fan of these anymore. I used to when I tried to trade a little bit more aggressively. It's been a very consistent aggressive sell-off, and now it looks overbought. Again, if you think that it's going to continue to uptrend, at least do your part in getting in for a good deal. Look at the MACD, look at the RSI. If anything, I would wait for this thing to pull back, correct itself, consolidate around the EMA line if it even bounces there, and then if it actually continues to show signs of an uptrend, then go in there. Until then, I would just be very weary of how aggressively this thing has been selling off. I would even look more into what caused that initial sell-off and that very consistent descending pattern. So I'm going to do 2 more breakdowns and then we'll call it a live stream. Also, do want to remind you that if you're part of Learn Plan Profit or TechBud Solutions in our Discord chat, all you have to do is, if you're part of TechBuds, you can post it in the watch list section and just simply tag me. Make sure you post it in the ticker call out format, or if you're part of Learn Plan Profit, post it in the watch or group alerts, right? And then tag me as well. So we have a lot of people, and I really do appreciate all of you, right? Calling out different stocks. I just want to remind you, and I see you, you just continue to post it in not the format, and I won't break it down. So here we go. So it has to be in the format or I won't break it down for you. Again, if you're not able to help yourself, how do you expect me to help you, right? Or just even assist you? If you haven't done your own due diligence, how do you expect anyone to take time out of their day when you won't do even that part for yourself? Do you get what I mean? And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I just want you to be empowered to just dedicate time to put in the work. I think keeping it that simple is fun. Here it goes. So CDIX, here it goes. Very aggressive descending pattern overall. What is it? OTC stock? Yeah, I would completely stay away from that one. I don't even want to really break that one down. NB, what is that? NBRV. Appreciate you for posting the ticker call out format. Yeah. All right. So it's a therapeutics company. I'm not a huge fan of that, right? Here it goes. All right. Yeah. Overall SMA line, it's a very aggressive descending pattern. Look at the MACD, look at the RSI. Do you see how it's been showing signs of a sell-off after it peaked out? It's in the very early stages of continuously pushing back down. And because of that, I would just say that, again, we're talking about the top stocks that we see value in this week. And right now, this is showing signs of a descending pattern. Because of that, I wouldn't be breaking it down. So market is closed tomorrow. That is correct. LABD. Let's see if we can end it strong. LABD, here it goes. Right, the inverse of LABD is LABU, right? So overall, MACD looks like it's around in its favor. With these, I would look at them a little bit closer. Just in my experience, I find the shorter time frames to be a little bit more attractive. So I can definitely see on the 20-day 1-hour chart, being able to see that the overall SMA line has been trying to act as a support. I would set my alerts and just make sure that the price action follows, that the overall direction is in your favor. So yeah, it looks like it's sold off. It's consolidating around the SMA line. If it continues to make higher highs and begin to indicate signs of an uptrend, what's the margin of profit? 7-8%. That's not bad, right? But that would be for a swing trade. I wouldn't really want to swing trade this. So out of all that, I would be very efficient with, even if I can capture the 1 or 2% within the day, I would capture those all day, just lock it in and call it a day. And as long as it continues to flow, then I'll, continue to go with the flow until it becomes overbought, overextended. And then from LABD, switch on over to LABU and see if we get confirmation on that. So thanks, Ricky. Good vibes to you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Appreciate that. AMD. So Here it goes. And this one I'm going to go a little bit further back. So, yep, very early stages of it getting rejected. Do you see that? Look at the MACD, look at the RSI, look at previous rejections, 1, 2. Patterns tend to repeat themselves. They don't have to, but it would make sense on why this thing can continue to sell off. Just like the market and just like a lot of these other different stocks that, you know, are being presented right now. They're very overbought, very overextended, and they're following the market very closely. And the market right now is a little bit more on the overextended side based off of recent patterns. I would set my alerts here, and I think that it's going to begin to pull back as long as, you know, the technicals stick. Obviously, if something is tweeted or some news is shared, and it drives the price up and breaks that pattern, right, for whatever the news is, then obviously, you know, we'll see AMD push up and stuff like that. But until then, just off of technicals, I think it makes sense for overall market conditions to continue to follow. So yeah, overall, a lot of you guys were asking me about Tesla because of its performance last week, of how it tried to aggressively push up and stuff like that due to all that news. SMA line's been acting as resistance. Just look at it, you know, does it look like a good deal based off of recent patterns? It's been very inconsistent. It looks now overbought based off of recent patterns on this descending pattern. So can it continue to push up? Of course, anything can happen. Will it most likely sell off? In my opinion, I think that it will. On the technical side, it's just look at the MACD, look at the RSI. I think it's again in the very early stages of a sell-off. But you know, 100%, you know, no one knows the future. So what can we do? Simply wait for confirmation. So, yeah, what here? I'm gonna the breakdowns. So this is what I want to ask you guys. So if you guys want me to break down, if I broke down like 12 stocks in this live stream. So if you guys want my 2 cents on what I think about whatever stock you see value in, I'm gonna have a lot of time tomorrow because I'm gonna be traveling to Hawaii. So all I ask you is, if you're part of our TechBot Solutions or Learn Plan Profit Discord chat, just post it if you can. Please don't forget to tag me in the group alerts or watch list channel. By doing that and tagging me, I will spend time all day tomorrow. The market's closed, so I will share my 2 cents about what I think about that. I need it to be in the ticker call out format. And I actually got like, there's like right now, we have Mike